Hey class, welcome back to my basement. We're multiplying binomials again. This time there's going to be some with negatives in them though. Same idea. So you take the first thing and you multiply it by both of the others in the bracket over there, and then the second thing multiplied by both of those things in the other bracket. Remember while you're doing this, if you multiply a positive and a negative, you get a negative. If you multiply a negative and a negative, you get a positive. Okay? And whatever comes before the letter or number, that belongs to it. So this negative belongs to this y. They're attached. If there was something before this x, that would be attached. So I'm going to do question 1, 2, 3, 4. Question 1 is like what we were doing last week. So I'm going to take the first thing, 3n, and multiply it by both of these guys. 3n times n is 3n squared. 3n times 3 is 9n. And it's positive 9n, so I'm going to put a plus sign there. Now I do these guys. 2 times n is positive 2n, and then 2 times 3 is 6. So make sure there's just something in between each number and letter. It should always look like this, your first line. You should always have 4 things and 3 signs in between. You might have a negative at this. Nope, you won't, not for this worksheet. So always be a positive or a negative in between. And then you'll usually be able to put these two things together. Collect. That stays the same. 9n plus 2n is 11n. And then I've got my plus 6. And that's the answer for number 1. Okay. Number 2. So now we've got both of them negatives. So let's get used to this. N times 2n, and then it's going to be n times negative 2. So n times 2n is 2n squared. N times negative 2 is negative 2n. Now I do negative 1, so this whole thing, times by these guys. Negative 1 times 2n is negative 2n. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. If you get mixed up with these sometimes, use a calculator or just use the calculator on your computer or Google. And same as before, I can then put these together. 2n squared, and then negative 2n, take away 2n, is negative 4n. So don't get confused. Because when you're multiplying, 2 negatives turn into a positive, right? But if you're just collecting stuff, it doesn't matter. You just think, I start at negative 2, and I take away another 2, I have negative 4. So you're only using these rules on the first step when you're multiplying. Those rules are for multiplying, sorry. Let's do question 3. 2x times 2x and 2x times negative 3. 2 times 2 is 4. X times x, x squared. 2x times negative 3. Okay, so that's attached to that. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And there's an x. Now we do 3 times 2x and 3 times negative 3. So if you're ever unsure, you can always just circle what comes before it to show what you're multiplying. Usually it's helpful when you've got a negative. Okay. 3 times 2x is positive 6x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. So just like this one, I've got 4 things, and I've got 3 signs in between, but sometimes there's going to be a negative now. But I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm going to put these two guys together. I'm going to collect those, because they're the same thing. In this case, negative 6x plus 6x is 0, so they cancel out. All I've got left, 4x squared, take away 9. You could put 0x in there, like 4x squared plus 0x, take away 9, but it just looks cleaner this way. It makes more sense. Alright, number 4, and then you go ahead and try the other 6. R times R squared. R times negative 3 3R. 1 times R is 1R. It's positive. 1 times negative 3, negative 3. And then put together the 2 in the middle. Make sure you collect what comes before the number. R squared. Negative 3R plus 1R is negative 2R. And then take away 3 on the end. That's my answer. Alright, so that's the first 4 answers there. Just try your best. As long as you try these questions properly, you'll get a good mark. Okay, there's a lot of ways you could slip up here, make little mistakes. I won't be too harsh about those, okay? Just give it your best and I'll give you a good grade for it, okay? For an attendance word, tell me what you would name your first child. Name, I can't spell. Name your first child. Stop dropping on me here. Name your first child. Alright, thank you class. See you next week.